this level of fighter, maybe I'm just, you know, I come up short against, you know, so it's a tough decision to just keep going, you know, in my boxing career. I think, as I was saying, I think this is the kind of fight that's going to make Danny better. I could see that I was having an annoying style, but Danny made little adjustments in there, and I'll tell you what he did. There was early on in the fight, you know, I was trying to win the jab war, and it was, you know, going back and forth. I felt like, you know, Danny had a slight advantage in the rounds, but I felt like I was in there, you know? I felt like I just couldn't get complete control of the fight. I felt like in moments I was grasping it, but then he'd take it back, you know, and that's a testament to his character and a testament to the championship level that he's on. There was a moment middle of the fight, I don't know what rounds, maybe 5 and 6 or around there, where I started realizing I had him missing and I didn't have to step back anymore. You know, like I remember telling myself, wow, I'm seeing everything right from where I'm standing, you know? Because early on, you know, he's a heavy puncher and I have to get his timing, so a lot of the things he threw, I would give ground. And I started realizing, like, around 5 or 6, I don't remember exactly, I just have to see the tape, but I started, like, making a miss right from where I was standing, you know, and sometimes we'd smother, end up chest to chest, and end up in a clinch, but I started thinking to myself, man, if I can keep doing this, I'm not gonna waste any energy, you know, and I don't have to give ground. You know, maybe I can start backing him up off my jab, you know, and that's what I was trying to do. And then Danny made a really good adjustment. He started jabbing at my shoulder and at my chest, but really well, and he did 2 things with that. For one, he disrupted my timing. Number 2, actually did a few things, maybe more than 2 things. One, he disrupted my timing. Number 2, made my jab shoulder really sore, so it made it harder to jab at him. And then number 3, I was trying to make him pay for jabbing with me, because, you know, they say you don't hook with a hooker, you jab with a jabber. So I said, you know what, if he's gonna jab with the jabber, I want to make him pay, like coming over the top with counter right hands, you know? And I kind of expected him to try to jab with me at times in the fight, so we worked on some counter right hands in camp over the top of the jab, but his hard jabs to the chest and shoulder did was it would rock back my momentum, because on a counter right hand, you're pulling your body weight back, and then you're pulling it over the top of the jab. When I would pull back my body weight to try to counter over his jab was real heavy right here. So I couldn't bring back the momentum, because you're basically changing momentum twice. You're going back and forward, you're rocking. So I would try to rock back, but his jab would hit me right here, and it was like, you know, I couldn't bring my momentum back forward over the top of the jab. So it was a really good adjustment. And what it did was it kept backing me up, and it gave him the command of the pace, the control of the fight again. Again, I mean, in spots, I felt like I still could grasp control, but just not enough to control the fight. And then he got me with a good shot, and it was probably the last round. It was probably right before they stopped it, maybe 20, 30 seconds before, an overhand right hit me in my ear, and it kind of messed up my eardrum a little bit. And from there, you know, it was, you know, he kind of built up to the stoppage. At first, I was mad about the stoppage, but then in hindsight, you know, it was fine. You know, I'm not the 25-year-old kid that fought Cotto anymore, you know. That fight, no matter what the ref would have done, if he would have stopped that, I would have been pissed off. I would have always been pissed off. But at 34 years old, maybe I don't bite my teeth as much anymore. In the moment I do. I mean, again, in the moment I was mad, but when I think about it afterwards, you know, Arthur McCanty made a good stoppage. You know, props to the commission, to the inspectors in the corner, the doctor, and Arthur McCanty for doing a great job refereeing. And Danny Garcia is a good fighter. I think he's going to move on to good things. And like I said, I think it's the kind of fight that makes him better. You know, he was forced to think in there, he was forced to make some adjustments. I'm a pesky guy. I'm annoying in there to fight, but Danny stayed calm. He's got a lot of character. He didn't show any frustration, and he made the adjustments he needed to make. And I just want to give him props. And this is probably my last fight. I don't think I have it in me to get back to training camp and make weight. Man, you know, I mean, I made weight great this fight. Props to him already. He had me on a great diet. You know, I've always eaten healthy in camp, but, you know, there's certain foods in, even if they're healthy, they're not good for making weight at certain spots. And so Memo really taught me a lot. So props to him. But it's still a lot of work, man. you still gotta bite down and be disciplined and whatnot. You still gotta work hard in camp. You know, I don't think I want to start over. I'm gung ho. I gotta go 0 to 100. You know, I didn't come back on a tune-up. I had a tune-up scheduled in May. He's a decent fighter in Danny O'Connor, but I just wanted to jump right back in the big mix. Maybe in hindsight, maybe taking on a lesser fighter would have been good. Coming back, jumping right back in the mix with Danny Garcia after 16 months, maybe it wasn't so smart, but you know what? I don't even regret it, man. I fought a great fighter tonight. I was happy to share the ring with a great fighter. I've shared the ring with many great fighters in my career. I've come up short sometimes, but if you look at the combined records of the guys that have beaten me in my career, you know, I didn't take any shortcuts, that's for sure. You know, I did this the hard way. And, you know, maybe it accumulated more losses than certain other fighters, but the resume that I built up and the guys that I fought and didn't duck, I think you'll be hard-pressed to find a lot of guys that took this route. You know, sometimes it wasn't even my choice. I can't say it was always my choice to take on the toughest fights. Sometimes it was, like this time it was, but you know, sometimes I was in positions where I just had to take tough fights in tough spots. But you know, we made it happen in key points in my career. We just couldn't make it happen tonight. And you know, I thank you guys, you know, for covering my career. The last 14 years have been fun. It's been a fun ride. A lot of ups and downs, roller coaster. But if it has to end in Brooklyn, at least it ends at home. And not in Ukraine like so many of us thought 3 years ago. That would have been a messed up place to end it, you know? So it started in Brooklyn. If it ends in Brooklyn, I got no regrets. And I hope Team Garcia goes on to do great things. And I hope I go on to commentate for a lot of years. Thanks, guys.
We'll take a few questions.
Mike Oppinger, USA Today.
Hey, Paulie, congrats. You know, you keep saying that this is likely your last fight. Is that because maybe you could see yourself down the road doing like a, you know, kind of like a farewell fight against a lesser opponent in New York?
You know, I just don't want to jump the gun, but I don't see it happening. Mainly, not even so much for the actual combat, just the training camp so hard, man. Damn, it's just like, it's not as fun as it used to be, man. You know, getting up every day and training, like it's like, I mean, I'm a competitor, but man, getting up every day training, making sure you gotta stay on top of your weight every single day, focusing on, you know, you gotta make this move right and this move right, then leaving the gym and thinking, man, I didn't make this move correctly today, I gotta work on that. It's just stress, man, you know? It's like, and it's just not as fun as it used to be. I mean, I love my team. I've got a great team, and props to Eric Brown, my trainer, Orlando Carrasquillo, Pete Ferrazza right here, who you'll hear always in my podcast.
Peter Cards.
Peter Cards, yeah. Which check out my podcast. That's the star of the show. But you know, Danny Milano's been my cut man almost throughout my career. Anthony Catanzaro. Big thank you to Al Heyman. I gotta thank Al, and it's become cliche to thank Al Heyman, but I gotta tell you why I thank Al Heyman in this particular situation. Nobody would have given me this opportunity. People would have laughed it off. Any other networks would have laughed it off. After taking tough losses in my career, I've always had to rebuild with lesser fights. You know, rebuild with you know, a little bit at a time and going through less paying fights and whatnot. And Al believed in me enough to give me this opportunity. Now, I came up short. Hopefully I didn't do myself a disservice. I mean, you guys honestly, at the end of the day, are going to report on that, whether I did or not. But, you know, I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity if it wasn't for Al. And I gotta really, really thank him for that, you know, to give me an opportunity at least to close out my career on this stage in this kind of fashion instead of, you know, what might have been lesser fights or lesser stuff like that, you know. So, like I said, it's cliche to thank Al Heyman, and people make jokes about it at times, but really, Al has been a big help to not just my career, but a lot of fighters. And it goes a lot deeper than just saying thank you to Al Heyman. He does a lot for us.
Hey, Paulie, you've been in there with the Cottos, the Hattons, the Khans. This was Danny's first fight officially at 147. Where would you rate his power among those guys?
He had pretty good power, man. You know, I was being real sneaky at first, and I wasn't letting him get the full blunt of the force to land on me. Early on, even if the shots would land, they would land at like 50%, because I was doing a good job of rolling back and rocking back with the shots and riding with them and catching them on my gloves. But then, as I started tiring a little bit, maybe instead of 50%, like 80% started landing of the power, you know? And I was like, man, I'm starting to feel it. Then, like I said, I think he busted my eardrum, or if it's not busted, it's definitely something happened to it in that 9th round. And, you know, that's a testament to also him, I think the weight helping him, because he never showed any kind of late power before. Now, I'm not telling you he's the hardest puncher I fought, but he carried his power pretty well. I mean, I'm a former 140-pound fighter. just like he is. Now, you know how it's gonna, how that power is gonna affect the true physical welterweights. I'm not sure, you know. But as far as rating his power compared to some of the other guys, I fought a lot of punches in my career, and that's probably another reason why I'm gonna call it quits. You know, because you know I've been in with some of the hardest punches, whether I've won or lost. I mean, it's constantly with hard punches, and Danny's power rate's up there pretty well. I mean, guys like Cotto was like freakish power. I mean, I didn't know whether to cry or get mad when he hit me, but Danny's got some solid strength, and you know he's got some solid power, and he's not as wild as people think. I mean, he gets wild, but there's a thinking process behind his style. He's a smarter fighter than he gets credit for. It's a lot deeper than that, and like I said, the power is definitely, I'd say, not just above average, probably a little higher than that. You know, it's certainly respectable, and one of the better punchers.
Can we take 2 more questions?
Paulie, is it a good thing in a way to finish with a top class fighter like Danny Garcia when you know you've had great success as a ringside announcer, you've gotten great reviews, and you have a big future there? So if you're not going to be fighting those guys anymore, is this kind of the way to go out rather than waste your time with lesser guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You know, I mean, I'm doing it regardless. But you know, I enjoy sharing the ring with top guys. I mean, when I beat Zab Judah in 2013, I had no clue that it would probably be my last win. So like, you know, but I mean, if you just look at what happened to Mike? I've lost 3 of my last 4 fights, but I haven't fought a single slouch there. You know, I mean, even when I fought Zab, it's easy to say hindsight is 2020. We was finished, but I mean, he had just finished a tough fight with Garcia, where he had won all the late rounds. You know, and then I dominated him. So, I mean, I'm 1 in 3 of my last 4, but man, it was like a murderer's row. You know what I mean? I'm constantly fighting top guys. So it's just, you get worn out. You get worn out. I mean, I enjoy sharing the ring with top guys. I love this kind of promotion. I love being a part of it. I'll always remember these memories. Life's about making memories, and I've gotten to make some cool memories in my life. Even if some of them were painful memories, it's still something to remember. And I've had a great team, and I thank my whole team for, you know, being a part of the ride. And you know, some of it was successful, some of it wasn't, but it was certainly a ride to remember.